Animals only attack humans if they are threatened or really hungry. So-called animal experts will tell you that animals don't go around seeking out and slaughtering humans just for the murderous thrill of it. But that isn't always true. Nature itself is unpredictable and in many ways deadly. These are the top 5 animal serial killers. Number 5. The Tsavo Man-Eaters. In 1898, Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson of the British Army oversaw the construction of a bridge on the Tsavo River of then Uganda. Shortly into construction, 2 male lions began attacking and eating the project construction workers. The terrorized workers started abandoning the project. Colonel Patterson took hunting the lions into his own hands. The first lion he killed was from a platform that was intended to be baited ambush, but the lion circled his position instead. He was able to make out the shape of one lion in the dark well enough to take a shot and managed to pierce its heart. Patterson attempted to kill the second lion with another baited ambush using a goat, but only wounded it initially. He set up another stakeout in a tree, where again the lion came after him. He shot it twice, but it got away. The next morning, Patterson was tracking the wounded lion when it charged his team from the bush. It took 3 more direct hits to finally kill it, and Patterson was almost killed in the process. The rifle that Patterson allegedly used was a Lee Mitford Sporter using .303 British. With the deaths of both lions, construction to the bridge was finally completed in February of 1899. After Tsavo, Patterson went on to be involved in the Second Boer War and World War I. He lived out his later years in San Diego, California, with his wife, where he died in 1947 at the age of 79. A film based these true events was released on October 11, 1996. Titled The Ghost in the Darkness, starring Val Kilmer as Patterson and Michael Douglas as Charles Remington, a fictional character. In the film, there was a cave filled with human bones that turned out to be not true. Both lions had manes in the movie. In real life, they were maneless. Patterson ended up keeping the skins and skulls of the 2 lions, using them as rugs for years before selling them to Field Museums of Natural History in Chicago, Illinois, where they were restored. One common theory to explain why lions resorted to killing humans is the animal's damaged teeth. Other theories include a developed taste for humans, scavenging human remains, or due to disease in years prior. Kill count 135. Whatever the case may be, the story of the Tsavo man-eaters remain one of the most famous cases of man-eating big cats in human history and will likely be debated for many years to come. Number 4. Gustav. In a rare display from nature, this male and weighing at 2,000 pounds. Age is estimated at 67 years old. A Nile croc's lifespan is 70 to 100. A documentary titled Capturing the Killer Croc aired in 2004 on PBS. The following is a compilation of all known video of Gustav from the documentary.
Now, it's up to Gustav to decide what happens next. Allison waits to see how Gustav and the other crocodiles react to the cow. But surprisingly, it is the hippos, strict herbivores, that are the first to investigate the carcass. With only 3 weeks left for the scientists, Gustav remains at large. Despite all efforts to catch him, he continues to kill. The team's plan isn't working, and time is running out.
Kill count, 300. The last known. Number 3. The Pinar Man-Eater. This was the deadliest of all man-eating leopards in history, but it gained much less reputation than previous leopards. The big cat firstly began its reign to consume human flesh from the numerous diseased corpses that was littered around the jungle as a result of cholera plague. When the cholera pandemic had ended and the corpses ceased, the Pinar leopard began to hunt humans. During this period, there was a great and legendary hunter that killed multiple man-eaters. His name was Jim Corbett, author and British hunter. Local villagers tried to hunt and trap the cat, but to no avail. The Pinar leopard could recognize the traps and was a master of camouflage and evasion. He was rarely seen until the moment he struck, and sometimes he was as courageous, taking people right from inside their homes and in front of their families. The hunt to the deadly Pinar man-eater started when Corbett first attempted to kill the Pinar man-eater, which was in April 1910. There he got a news of recent attacks at a village across the river. After trekking through hills and crossing a flooded river with no bridges, sleeping on open ground in the heart of leopard territory, Corbett reached the village. The most recent attack had occurred there. 4 men had just been killed. Corbett staked out 2 goats to lure the Pinar leopard and laid in wait. The great cat took the first goat and vanished. 3 days later, Corbett had the second goat tied to a tree about 30 yards, and then he laid in wait all day and then into the night. The leopard finally came, and Corbett could only make put sound of the leopard killing his prey and faint white blur of the goat's fur. On hearing this, he fired his shotgun and wounded the cat, and again he escaped. Corbett then lined up his men up behind him with torches. He made them each promise not to run so that he would have enough torchlight to target the wounded cat. They then walked out across the field toward the brush at the far side, and then suddenly the legendary man-eater lunged from the brush and charged the legendary hunter. All of the men turned and ran instantly, though luckily one dropped his torch and giving Corbett just enough light to shoot the leopard in the chest by ending his reign of terror and horror. The firearm Corbett allegedly used was a W.J. Jeffrey BLNE double express rifle 450-400 Nitro Express. Kill count 400. Number 2. The Champawat Tigress. Now here is one truly dangerous feline for the history books. All it took was a fierce bite to your neck before she would take her victims away to be gorged upon after breaking the neck vertebrae or suffocation. This female Bengal tigress began her first kill on humans in the year 1900 in Nepal, Himalayas, which is located in South Asia. Hunters were sent in to dispatch the tigress, but she always managed to evade her pursuers. After that, the Nepalese army was called. They too failed to capture or kill her. Eventually, they forced her out of their territory across the border into India. Most of her victims consisted of women and children. as they were the ones most at risk because due to their routine going into the forest to gather firewood, feeding livestock, etc. She only killed during daylight hours. Once again, hunter Jim Corbett, the famed cat hunter, tracked down the beast. In 1907, the tigress killed a 16-year-old girl. Corbett followed the trail of blood, leading him to her devoured carcass. The tigress attempted to ambush Corbett but managed to scare her off with 2 gunshots from his rifle. Jim was forced to abandon the hunt and decided to use villagers to organize a beat the very next day. About 300 villagers, Jim used the very same rifle that would kill the Pinar leopard in the future. The tigress was spotted around noon. Corbett struck her in the chest and shoulder, but she was still alive and attempted to charge at Corbett with the last of her strength. Corbett shot the tigress in the foot, causing her to finally collapse 20 feet in front of him. Corbett became an avid photographer and spoke out for the need to protect India's wildlife from extermination. He died in 1955 at the age of 79. A post-mortem on the tigress showed the upper and lower canine teeth on the right side of her mouth were broken. The upper one in half, the lower one right down to the bone. This injury, a result of an old gunshot, according to Corbett, probably prevented her from hunting her natural prey, and hence she started to hunt humans. The Chappaquiddick tigress holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the highest fatalities from an animal. Kill count 436. Or does it really hold the highest body count? Number 1. The Beast of Javadan. In June of 1764, the shepherds of Javadan, a poor and isolated region in southern France, had reported the presence of a bestia prowling around the isolated villages. These rough men, accustomed to the presence of wolves, got worried about the uncommon appearance of the animal. Far larger than a wolf, covered with reddish fur with a black line on the back. In April, a young woman tending cattle was attacked by a creature like a wolf, yet not a wolf, but escaped because the herd defended her. On June 30th, 1764, Jean Boulet was devoured by the ferocious beast near Saint-Étienne-de-Lougédare. This date was officially the first of the long and tragic series of attacks attributed to the famous beast of Javadan. On the 6th of August, a young shepherdess was devoured at Saint-Jean-la-Fouillouse. 2 days later, another young girl was savagely attacked and killed. On the 30th of August, a 15-year-old was fatally wounded. In early September, the attacks, mostly lethal, were continual. The beast concentrated its attacks on women and children who traditionally watched over small herds. September 15th, the governor of Languedoc sent to Javadan a detachment of 57 dragoons under the command of Sieur Douaumont. With the help of local lords, particularly the Earl of Morhangi, Douaumont organized the first great attack against the beast. On the 20th of September, an enormous wolf was shot, but the attacks did not really stop and generalized anxiety was increasing. Tien Lafont, syndic of Javadan, decriminalized the possession of firearms for commoners. Moreover, he raised 200 livres, the reward for the capture of the beast, that is to say more than 30 times the sum of an ordinary wolf. Soon, other rewards were promised by Languedoc, the Dueses of Mende, and by King Louis XV. All in all, it amounted to more than 10,000 pounds for the man who would kill the beast. The animal was not really disturbed about huntings and beatings, which often required more than 24 hours to be organized. Highly mobile, it moved its sphere of activity to 18 miles northwest from its initial den. In October, the ravages scattered in the woods of Saint-Alban, Malzoul, and Saint-Chély. Douaumont organized hunts every day, braving early snows. He covered Javadan with traps and poisoned carcasses. On October the 8th, the beast was twice hit by hunters but managed to escape. The use of poor quality powder and shots combined with the surrounding dampness and thickness of the animal's fur can explain this failure. But the population only saw the evidence of the supernatural strength of the beast. More than its strength, the behavior of the beast spread terror. Its victims were found nude and sometimes decapitated. It became bold and attacked villages, looking up and down its adversaries, and often made several attacks a day. Then, different theories were widespread. Could all these killings be committed by several animals and not only one? Some thought it was the work of a lunatic who had trained a huge dog to kill. It was also reported the beast was sometimes seen wearing armor made out of tough hog skin, led some villagers to believe that he was a trained attack animal rather than a lone predator. Others were convinced that the murderer was a werewolf. On the 31st of December 1764, the Bishop of Mende had a psychosis. He described the beast as a scourge sent by God to punish men for their sins and women for being flirtatious. At the same time, French and European newspapers were fascinated by the affair. Journalists laughed at Louis XV, king of the homeland of the Enlightenments, whose troops failed to dispatch the creature. In order to stop the controversy, Louis XV sent Jean-Charles d'Anville to Gévaudan. He was known as the best wolf hunter in the world. The ambitious Norman soon took the complete control of the huntings. Therefore, D'Anville had to leave Gévaudan on April 8th. D'Anville and his company first tried huntings, but the geography of Gévaudan did not lend itself well. Lafont wrote, "These gentlemen didn't expect to find so many mountains, marshes, and so much snow, neither to learn the beast could run all over so long distances." Finally, D'Anville took up the tactics of beats again. On the 21st of April 1765, more than 10,000 men were gathered to track down the beast without success. D'Anville still managed to kill 17 wolves of Gévaudan, but the beast remained elusive. While the slaughter carried on, some heroes managed to frustrate the beast. On January 12, 1765, a child was almost snatched away by the beast. Jacques Portefeuille, age 12, rushed to save him and chased the attacker away with a scythe. On March 14th, Jeanne Jouve succeeded in saving her 9-year-old daughter, but her 6-year-old son died from his wounds. On the 11th of August, Marie-Jeanne Velay, 20 years old, repelled the beast by sticking a spear in its chest. The beast retreated. Marie-Jeanne was to be remembered as the Maid of Gévaudan. Louis XV generously rewarded these courageous people. In June of 1765, the king sent Mr. Antoine, his own arquebuse, to Gévaudan. He was welcomed in the region as a liberator. With a heavy heart, D'Anville left Gévaudan as he was ordered by Versailles on the 18th of July. At first, Antoine's hunting remained inefficient. On August 16th, while hunting, a brawl broke out between Antoine's men and those of the Chastel family. Jean Chastel, an innkeeper, and 2 of his sons were thrown in prison. There they would remain until Antoine leaves Gévaudan. On the 21st of September, Antoine and the guard Richard shot a 132-pound wolf in the woods of Chas. Officially, the arquebuse of the king shot the beast. The wolf of Chas was stuffed and exhibited at the Chateau of Versailles on October 1st. Louis XV granted Antoine the reward and allowed him to have a dying wolf symbolizing the beast on his arms. The carnage was at last over, or so they thought. The killings continued throughout 1766. It was not the beast of Javadon. This time, neither Versailles nor the newspapers were interested in the tragedies. The beast settled in an area around the Mouche, Grand, and Chauvet Mounts. The population of Javadon, exhausted, made endless prayers and possessions. After a temporary calm period, the spring of 1767 appeared terribly bloody. Among the victims, the young Rose Vernie de la Taillere, the sole noble victim of the beast, was found on April 29th with her throat cut. On May 4th, a nun was devoured. Then the Marquis of Apshe, a young local nobleman, aged 19, took in hand the tracking of the animal. The best shots of the area were recruited, among them Jean Chastel. They were equipped with high-quality weapons and munitions. These men practiced hunting game from a hide, reacting as soon as possible when the presence of the beast was reported. On June 17th, Jean Bastide, aged 19, had her throat ripped out in the village of Besnier. She was to be the last victim of the beast. On the 19th of June 1767, 6 kilometers north from Soga, Apshe and his men caught sight of the animal in the woods. The beast managed to escape after killing a hunting dog. At that very moment, at a place named Saunier-de-Var, the animal found itself in front of Jean Chastel, 30 feet from him. With the legendary shooting, Chastel put an end to the nightmare of Javadon. He was said to have had his silver bullets blessed some days before. The beast was summarily stuffed and exhibited for some days in the Marquis of Apshe castle. Allegedly, the body was destroyed by the king's orders. Another is that it was buried in secrecy somewhere in the garden of Versailles. Jean Chastel, real victor of the beast, was only given 75 livres.
He died in 1789.
The gun he used to slay the beast was a flintlock musket. According to numerous drawings, we can assume that this creature was some type of hybrid wolf, hyena, a lion, or maybe the extinct hyenodon. Kill count 500. Without genetic or forensic testing, the identity of the beast will forever remain unknown.